Hello students, a very good morning. So students, in last class we were revising our chapter current electricity, and up to Wheatstone bridge we have revised our topics. So today let's start to revise the next topic. As in the case of Wheatstone bridge, what we have done, we have seen a condition whenever the bridge is balanced, and in that condition we can find out any value of unknown resistance. Now we have made some of the instrument based on the Wheatstone bridge also, and you have done practicals based on that also in your laboratory already, and that is now the meter bridge. So let's see now what is meter bridge and on which principle it is working, how it is working, and what kind of formula we need here, what we can measure from here, what are the advantages of this kind of bridges now. So here the next instrument based on the Wheatstone bridge is now meter bridge. So meter bridge, first of all, why its name is meter bridge? Meter is name is given because in this instrument we are using 1 meter scale and 1 meter wire exactly, and we are by the help of that 1 meter wire we are calculating the value of unknown resistance. So meter bridge, first its purpose to use in laboratory is to first to determine the value of unknown resistance. Second, we can measure easily by measuring the unknown resistance. We can measure what is the value of resistivity of that material, and these also we can verify the law of combination of resistors from here. Next one, we can verify Ohm's law from here. Also we can just use the Ohm's law by using meter bridge to determine the value of unknown resistance. So these all are examples and applications of meter bridge where we are using it. And now let's see on which principle it is working. So first line, I think that is now clear. Second, why we are calling it bridge? Because here we are using the meter bridge on the principle of Wheatstone bridge. So as Wheatstone is already in the bridge form, that's a meter as its principle is Wheatstone bridge, we are also calling it meter bridge. So this name is, I think, now clear. Let's see now the construction of meter bridge. So in the construction of meter bridge, first we have this kind of structure. So these are the conducting plates that are just joined on a plywood or a wooden if a wooden block we have, on which we have used this conducting plates now. And in these conducting plates, these are the screws that are given to connect the wires. Now this screw that is connected again with a conducting plate here. So these are also a conducting plate that is interconnected. Now this conducting plate that is connected by a scale and a wire of length 1 meter. So this is now the construction of meter bridge. Simple means we are using these conducting plates over a plywood, and these plates are also interconnected over that one. We have just put a meter scale, over that we have put a wire of or conducting wire of 1 meter length. Clear? Now what we are doing in the meter bridge, we are connecting resistance box, unknown resistance and other all to calculate the value of unknown resistance. So let's see how can we make meter bridge, how can we convert the meter bridge into the Wheatstone bridge form. So as for Wheatstone bridge, you will see you have 4 resistances now. So as for the Wheatstone bridge, you have 4 resistances now, and the first if you will see, these resistances are connected in forms of bridge, and there we are connecting a potential source, and again if it is DC, so we can connect a battery here. Now this is suppose point A and C. In between point B and D, a detecting device like galvanometer we are connecting here. So you can also interchange these both, and I told you this one. Now how can we construct meter bridge in this form? So as here 4 resistances, suppose this is P, Q, this is R, this is now S, whereas is unknown resistance. So we are first of all connecting the known resistance to the resistance box. So here we are connecting a resistance box by these 2 ends. Now the unknown resistance that we are connecting in between, this is now unknown resistance or the wire of unknown resistance. to the wire that is given to us to find out its resistance that we are connecting in between these two. Now we are connecting the potential source in between this. So this is now the position of the potential source here. Battery we are connecting by these two ends now. So our battery eliminator is now connected. Now the next one here, by this point we are connecting it by the galvanometer. Any end you can connect positive or negative, and the another end of this galvanometer is connected by a socket. So this is now a jockey. So this is our whole circuit diagram for the meter brush. And now how can we understand we have constructed a brush by connecting these kind of just circuitry, or we have made this kind of circuits? Then what we have done exactly, we have done first arms we have connected two known resistances, like we have one unknown resistance we have connected, one known resistance we have connected. Resistance box, in that number of resistances we have, you know already, and we can choose the resistance from there. So that is known and this was unknown. Now the rest of the two resistance that is provided by this wire. So this is the 1 meter wire over which we are putting the jockey, and jockey is dividing the wire into two parts, and that two parts you can say even you have the sum of the length area that will have also some resistance. So these are now two resistances that are completing our brush here. Now we are connecting galvanometer. That galvanometer is connected to this end. It means that the circuit is now completed. By these two ends we are connected the battery. This circuit is also completed. Now it means our meter base is converted in forms of Wheatstone base. So we can also apply the formula of Wheatstone base from here. So what, first of all, before applying that one, what we are doing through the meter base, we are searching a condition of null point or balance bridge condition. So as in Wheatstone bridge, I have told you, we have a balance bridge condition for which the deflection in galvanometer that should be 0. So we for that case we have started to move this jockey over this wire. So whenever we are moving the jockey over this wire, that time the resistances that increase or decrease according to this movement, because the length is changing due to movement of the jockey, and up to a point when for which the deflection in galvanometer becomes 0, we just keep constant the jockey here. Now after this one we are just using the formula, means now our bridge is in balance condition. So for balance condition we have the balance Wheatstone base condition, that is P by Q is equal to now R by S from here. So suppose this is now our P, this is our Q, for example, this one is R and this one point is S. Clear? So this is our now 4 resistances. So here, as the resistances are in forms of length, you can also convert it in forms of length. So from here, R can be written as rho L1 by A upon S can be written as, again, as the material are same. So resistivity will be same. Also the material is wire is same, uniform, so its area will be same also, but length is different, so we can write it in this form. Now if you will solve, then rho by A, that will be cancelled out, and this formula will be finally L1 by L2. This is P by Q from here. So you can also adopt this formula. Also, you know, this wire is 100 centimeter length, 1 meter wire we have. So it means if suppose this wire from where the resistance box we have connected up to this side, the length is L, then obviously this length will be 100 minus L from here. So in the place of L1 you can write L, in place of L2 you can write also 100 minus L from here. So if now you will calculate the value of unknown resistance by this formula. So value of unknown resistance Q, this will be calculated as 100 minus L into P upon L. So this is our formula to calculate the value of unknown resistance easily by the help of Wheatstone base, meter base. So here, what is the advantage of meter base over Wheatstone? As in Wheatstone, we are using number of resistances there, and to vary their value, to manage or to find the value of unknown resistance or null point, that is little difficult in comparison to this one, because here we are using jockey to move over this one, and that is very easy to do. That's why we are preferring the meter brush over the bead stone brush to find out unknown resistance. Now next one here, if you can see the values here, what you have to calculate only, but only you have to find out null point and the value of resistance that you have applied. You have to note that if you will find out null point, then the L that you have to just find out 100 minus L directly you can find out by the using value of L, and Q will be calculated. So this is our first application of the meter brush. So we can find out easily the value of unknown resistance from here. Now as we have found out unknown resistance, then now we can measure the known resistance via length and area. So length you can measure easily by using meter scale, and area you can measure by using screw gauge. So you can use these two to measure, or radius exactly, diameter you can measure by the screw gauge, and after measuring the diameter you can find out the area. So if suppose L is the length, capital A is the area of that wire, then Q, you know, Q is equal to rho L by A. So from here you can calculate what is the value of rho, that is resistivity of material. So resistivity of material can be calculated now easily by this formula. Means by using meter brush also you can have the information about the material. Suppose you don't know what is the material of wire that we are using. So by calculating this one, you can easily find out what will be the value, or what is the now material by just you can say matching the chart of resistivity by the standard chart, and you can easily show yes this wire is made up of this material now. So this is now the very important application of meter brush. So I think this is now clear. Next application, the second application of meter brush you will see, that is we can verify the law of combinations of resistors from here. So as law of combinations of resistors, you know, if resistors are connected in series, then their values is suppose two resistors are connected in series, they have resistances R1 and R2. So their equivalent resistance will be R1 plus R2. Similarly in parallel you have formula R1 R2 upon R1 plus R2. So in that the law that we have written by theory, we can prove it practically by using meter brush. So here what we are doing, in the same procedure, only we are using the two coil. Suppose first coil and second coil that is given to us, we are connecting the first coil, and by using that first coil in the same method that we have done before, first we have found out the value of R1 from here. So by the same formula, in place of Q you can write R1, and again using this resistance box you can apply some of the resistance. By moving the jockey you can find out the L for null condition, null point condition, and that's why we can calculate R1. Now remove the first coil R1, and then second coil attach it in the place of this one, and again find out its resistance by the same method. So that's resistance will be now R2. So we have calculated R1 and R2. Now connect the both coil in series by end to end, connect them, and then put also connect here also. So after connecting again to the same procedure, again find out its, the value of resistance of that series combination of the wire. So suppose for the series combination you have found out the value of resistance is capital R, and now connect just disconnect the wires coils from here, and then connect them by both ends like in parallel combination, and again connect here also. So after connecting again just repeat the procedure. So for that we can calculate the value of resistances in parallel combination. Now this is our whole experiment that we have to do to find to verify the law. So to verify the law, this is now the experimental value that we have got by the experiment. Now from the theory, how can you get this value? So use theory, as R1 and R2 two values we have, and we know for the series combination R should be equal to R1 plus R2. So just find out this value by calculation and just see whether this value is matching with this value or not. So if this is matching, it means our formula is correct, and also if some of the points are not matching, you can find out the error due to the measurement by the instrument. Second one, similarly for parallel combination, as we know, the value of resistance by formula it is given as R1 R2 upon R1 plus R2. So you can just match these two values now and you can see whether they are matching. If they are matching, then definitely our formula is correct, because experimentally it is now proved. So we can easily verify the law of combination of resistors by using meter base here, or by using the you can say the principle of the meter base from here. Next one here, after this we can also verify Ohm's law by using meter base. So let's see how can we verify Ohm's law using meter base now. So while verifying Ohm's law, what we are doing, we are connecting this circuit in some different way. So let's see first of all the connection of the circuit for the verification of Ohm's law here. So now this is our again the meter base. Now its construction, let's connect it now. So how we are connecting, these are now the 2 points, suppose A and B, and at the end of 2 point, first point we are connecting with the voltmeter now. So as in Ohm's law, you know, we have to find out the variation between voltage and current. So if this graph we will plot, that will be linear graph. It means that our Ohm's law is verified by the meter base instrument also. So here as a voltmeter we are connecting, any of the positive negative you can connect. Negative is connected again by the socket from here. So this is our first connection that we have made. Now the other connection that you don't have to do by using this one, you can also do, but still without connecting these one, you can also connect externally now the wires. The first wire from here, that you will use a connecting wire, and that will be connected to the battery now. So if this is suppose the negative side of battery, and this is now our battery eliminator. So through the battery eliminator we are using a key, then we are connecting an ammeter from here. So this is our key, and then we are connecting an ammeter to measure the current. So this is the positive and negative, we have to connect always. Ammeter will be connected with the positive side of the battery. So it means simple thing is that if here the negative, then ammeter's negative should be connected. If it's positive, then its positive should be connected. Otherwise current will not flow here. The next one thing that we will use here, that is the rheostat now, and that rheostat is now connected. One end of the rheostat is connected by here. So this is our connections for the verification of Ohm's law by using meter base now. So in this case, what we are doing now, we are using three things: rheostat, ammeter and voltmeter. These three things we are using. So for that, first of all, whenever the circuit is switch is on, battery eliminator, we are given some value to it, then that time we will see there is some value in already value of current that is showing in ammeter. And for that value of current, you have to measure the value of potential first. So just make a chart for a current and potential and write down both of the values. After this, use rheostat, move the jockey of the rheostat, and using that you can just find out easily what will be the value of now potential. Means you can vary the potential by changing resistance from here. So whenever you will vary, then that time ammeter and voltmeter both value will change. So ammeter value you will change by according to your own, and you will read the both of the value, is ammeter and voltmeter. So this is a chart. And also one thing here, the jockey, its use is you can choose the length of the wire by yourself to find out the value of unknown resistance. Suppose you are using this whole experiment to find out the value of unknown resistance and also to verify Ohm's law. So we are putting the jockey at a certain place, as this wire is of 100 centimeter. So up to 100 centimeter we can choose any length to find out the resistance. Suppose you are choosing 20 centimeter, 30 centimeter or so on. So if you have to find out the resistance of the wire of length 30 centimeter, just put jockey at 30 and hold it here. Don't move hand from the air, and now do the procedure that I have told you. Do make the chart and note down the reading of ammeter and voltmeter. After that, plot a graph between I and B. So if you will plot the graph of here, like suppose it's V and I you have taken. So this graph, if it is linear, then it means that our Ohm's law is verified, because it is showing that V is directly proportional to IL. This is now the Ohm's law. And if you will just find out its slope, then that slope will provide you the value of V by I. And you know V by I is equal to resistance. So through this one you can find out easily what is the value of resistance of the wire of 30 centimeter that we have chosen. So here this is the third application of the emitter press that we are using in our laboratory to just find out easily or to verify Ohm's law, because if you will see the experiment done by Ohm's law, that experiment has a problem. Heating problem is generated a lot there. Here also the wire gets heated, but still you can just maintain that heating effect here in this case, and that is less than the experiment that is done by the Ohm's. So that's why we are preferring this experiment to verify Ohm's law to find out the resistance. Also you can use the Wheatstone-Press method, or you can use Ohm's law method to find out the value of unknown resistance from here. So after this, students, the next topic that we have to discuss here in current electricity, and that is the topic for the cell. So let's see now what is now the cell, how can we combine the cell, how can we find out the internal resistance of the cell. So the next topic is now cell. So exactly about the cell I don't have to tell you, only construction of the cell you have already aware of that. In a cell we are using some of this electrolyte and electric solution, and also we are using two of the rods. One is cathode and one is anode. So this is simple construction of the any primary cell. So here in the case of primary cell, whenever we are connecting it, then that time ions are accumulated at to cathode and anodes there. And in this whole case, there is some internal resistance that is created, that is produced due to the accumulation of charges, or also if we have some of the cell and we are just denoting any cell by this one. So here this is denoting the cathode and anode to us, and now this is our cell. That is, suppose this cell we are connecting by any external supply, any external potential, then that time whenever the cell is open, means we haven't connected it to any of the supply, then that time the potential provided by the cell, that is maximum, because any current we are not drawing from the cell. So that maximum potential difference between these two, anode and cathode, that is known as EMF of the cell. So now first topic in the case of cell that we have to study, that is now EMF of the cell. So EMF of the cell is what? This is the maximum possible potential that we are observing whenever we haven't connect any battery to it, or the current is not drawing from the cell from here. Only the charges are stored over this anode and cathode, and due to their the ion accumulation, whatever the potential is generated between these two plates, that is called the EMF. Clear? And we are denoting it by E. Now when we are connecting the source from here, so due to connection of this source, these ions will start to feel attraction and repulsion due to this battery source, and whenever they will start to feel attraction or repulsion, then that time the electrolytic solutions that we are using in cell, that will start to oppose of it, and in opposition of it, it provide a resistance in the flow of the current that start to flow due to this circuit completion from here. So that current that will the flow of current through the cell, that will be opposed by the solution that is that we are using here, and the opposition of solution is known as now internal resistance. So this is now the resistance that is provided by the cell in opposition of the flow of current through it, that is known as now internal resistance. Clear? So every cell, as it has ions molecules, that will oppose it, and that will provide you some of the internal resistance, and due to that internal resistance, when current will flow through it, then there will be a potential drop in the cell, and that potential drop will be, by using Ohm's law we can calculate, this is IR. Now the potential of this battery, so if or not the battery exactly, if you have to find out now what is the potential at the end of these two cells or these two plates now, so that will reduce now, because some of the potential is used to overcome this internal resistance. So some potential is dropped now. So the potential that is now remain, that is known as now terminal potential. So this is now the known as terminal potential, and this we will get whenever we will connect any of the source load. So this is now the information about the cell. So students, today about the meter press and its experiment and cell, whatever we have discussed, that is now I think all clear and you have reminded correctly. So let's end our class here for today.